time? Well, why do we have a consciousness? Why do we feel so much? We're questioning our existence. Time is a construct of the mind. Children think that everything is great because they live in the moment. They're always trying new things. They don't perceive their time as something that's limited. It's only when we push them into school, these systems, someone decided, well, we should teach them time so they can meet up on our schedule, so that way they can be in alignment with our program. Because that's what time is. It's a program in your mind. They don't fear a lot of things. They don't have anxieties. This all comes from mental programming, deprogramming. You're born with more senses and with more intelligence of your surroundings than you are when you die. And this is because when you're born into this reality, your brain is a computer processor basically, and it's able to process information. It's basically multidimensionally, and you can perceive a lot that's going on at once. This is where, in my opinion, ADD comes from. When you have 4 million thoughts going at once, it's not because something's wrong with you. It's because you are in tune with a frequency that does not run parallel with the program of the matrix that they've tried to program your mind to be. So it's resisting because it knows that there's multiple things happening at once. Time is like a spiral. You can attune to a frequency of time, past, present, or future, all simultaneously. Everyone right now in the present, the gift, the moment, the actual time, we don't have to limit ourselves into believing that we all exist at the same time, because truly you can be in the future while also being in the past, because it's like a state of mind. Imagine it as like this funnel, and the higher you get, it's like slower even. It's described in scriptures and old times as those in the heavens, those in the clouds, whether you believe in aliens, multidimensional realities, or religion itself. The heavens would be the outside of this three-dimensional reality. And what you perceive up there, they describe it as being much slower than down here. 12,000 years down here is like, I don't know, a year up there. Don't quote me on that math. But the concept that higher dimensionals exist at a slower, because again, they're moving at a different pace than us, because as you get to the bottom, it kind of swirls and gets faster and faster. And it's like when we believe that time is something that we must believe in, it's a belief, like it's not real. It's something we believe. We teach it to children. They don't have a natural instinct for time. They have a natural instinct for the moment. What can we do right now? That's exciting. What spontaneous thing can we come up with? What adventurous thing? They just want a little more time, right? They're like, no, just can I stay up a little bit later? Can I have a little bit more time? Because they want more time, because time doesn't exist to them until we put them in indoctrination schools that program their minds to, okay, this means 1 o'clock. I go to school at this 8 o'clock. I have to be picked up at 3:50. My bedtime is at 8:30. Okay, dinner's at 6 p.m. Soccer practice is at 7 on Tuesday. Once we become adults, we realize, well, dang, I forgot all about this really awesome creative thing I was going to do with myself. Or the fact that I got overweight. How did I get here? How did I gain 50 pounds? And then you tell yourself, well, I'm going to start working out tomorrow or next week or New Year's, right? It's like you're telling yourself you're going to create a new program for your mind, but instead what you're doing is you're pushing things off, because the present is now. If you want to lose weight, you start now. If you want to be more creative, you start now. And starting now means first step. It does not mean you go run a marathon if you haven't ran in 6 years. It means maybe I can buy myself a water bottle, that a nice water bottle that's just going to encourage me to drink more water, to flush out my toxins. And then maybe I'll just go on a walk when I get off of work, and I'll start doing that as a routine. And then after that, maybe I'm going to start jogging once a week for like 5 minutes, just 5 minutes jog. And then after a month, maybe I'll get a gym membership. And then maybe I'll start lifting weights in 6 weeks. You know, breaking it down, these are setting goals for the future, but you're starting in the moment, because if you make a conscious decision to start in the moment, that's when you actually begin your passion, your dream, which you set out, your goals. If we want to get into control, we have to realize everything we want to do only exists within the moment. You're always in the moment, period. Time is not a linear event. There is no future. There is no tomorrow is going to be your now. It's like a cycle. So that's why the moon and the sun go in cycles. And that's also why time moves in cycles. Everything has polarity. This is a dualistic reality so that we can learn polarity. We have this grand awakening going on. And many of us are waking up to who we are, which are light workers, star seeds, multidimensional beings that have the ability to become our own time masters. Because what we're doing is we're breaking out of spells that are cast over us, and certain energies are opening up. So the moon opens up certain energies. That's why it wanes and it waxes, and full moons, these are certain energies, frequencies that come through that we can receive if we're open. If we're closed off and our third eye shut off, our crown chakra shut off, we're shut off, we're closed off to the knowledge, the information, the frequencies. This is where the time split happens. So in order to start doing what it is you want to do, you have to firstly start right now. What do you want to change about yourself? How far from your childhood mindset are you? Have you strayed off your path quite a bit? What we do is we'll go years and years far away from who we are. And then the idea to get back, it's just like, wow, that's so much work. I don't want to do it. But guess what? You have so many more moments and so many more years to live moments that you're going to spend them doing something hard regardless of which path you take. Because actually the path that is in alignment with who you truly are, which is that little voice inside of you that's calling you to do something, whichever path we choose, the actual path of least resistance is going to be your purpose. Whatever you set out here to do, whatever you came here for, you're going to actually have less resistance on that path. So even though it's going to take some reprogramming, some deprogramming of your mind, it's actually going to benefit you the most. Because time is now. The program concept of time is an illusion. Actual time exists right now. Literally, we're going to learn this. The further we go with technology and virtual reality and transhumanism, I believe it's called, where computers and humans like merge. Don't do that. I don't know if I trust in that. I think we can do that without computers. I think that's the trick. The further we ascend, because we're ascending as a consciousness, as a together consciousness, as a people, we are ascending in our ability to conceive what's happening here. a long, long time ago, our minds were toyed with, let's say, and this experiment that we're in has us questioning, why are we here? Why do we have a consciousness? Why do we feel so much? Like, why can't we just simply exist like all the animals of the world? Why can't we just exist like they do, or the plants? Instead, we're questioning our existence. We're having existential crisis, right? We question the universe. We question where we came from and where we're going. Religion. We look up into the heavens for a savior. Once we master our understanding that, once all of us realize we're the creator, and we come together, unify in unity, in unified diversity, accepting, like being able to be a Christian and look at a Muslim with no judgment, being able to be white with no judgment of black, being able to be rich with no judgment of poor, being able to be ugly with no judgment of beauty. These things are what are going to ascend us into a state of consciousness that allows us to exist outside of time. These concepts, these programs, we are infinite soul beings. We are going to, when this flesh suit dies, our spirit continues on, because time is an illusion. They want us to think, oh, we're getting older, time is up. They want us to think that's the end. That's a trick of the mind. Your soul doesn't die. You don't die. The ancient Egyptians had a strong belief, such a strong belief, that they built pyramids and mummified their people and their children and the nobles, the greats, right? They mummified these people, put them in coffins, and their bodies are still preserved to this day. Thousands of years later, they had all these hieroglyphs speaking of the importance of the afterlife, how the afterlife was more important than this life. And this life was to study on how to travel beyond. Now, we can call them crazy or consider it a mystery, or we can see the simplicity in what they were saying. What we're doing is very backwards. Living in boxes, being wasteful and trashy, constantly consuming and overproducing things and weight, like we're just becoming such a heavy, dense being that does not allow us to rise higher in frequency and vibration. Nikola Tesla said that we are energy that vibrate at a particular frequency. And once mankind realizes these truths, science will advance tremendously, because we are stuck in the past mindset of consciousness where we could only perceive a small amount, but our minds, the neurons, all the abilities that the brain has, everything's firing. We're learning that when you're born, you have more of an understanding of reality than most adults and elderly do, okay? So understand that living in the moment is a different reality than living in time. Time is a spell of the mind. The moment is reality. So if you can exist in the moment, you exist outside of time. And when you exist in the moment, you become superhuman. Pretty much. That's the reality of it. And the more we become enlightened to this, the more these energies come through. Coming up here, December 21st, 2020, we are going to have so much energy pouring through. If you're open to this knowledge, if you're open to this wisdom, if you're channels, if you're able to flow with this, energy's coming through are insanely powerful. And we're going to take this, it's going to be a quantum leap. In my 30 years of existence, from 1990 to 2020, we went from house phones with a cord where you had to like dial numbers like this. We may have had the buttons. No computers, only like maybe colleges or something, or scientists had computers. You definitely didn't have them in your house unless you were like rich or something. I didn't have a computer until I was, I don't know, 10 or 11 in our house. Where we are now, whew. Can you imagine 5 to 10 years from now? Generation Alpha, I'm so intrigued by Generation Alpha. When Generation Alpha is in their 20s, just their energy itself is powerful. The fact that they're receiving, like I said, December 21st, 2020, the information that's coming through in that time frame is also coming through for them, because they're conscious beings, they're children. So their channels are open, they're receiving the knowledge. They're young right now. 5G wants to block it. Certain energies want to block it. There's an adversary to the positivity, because this is duality, there's poles. But truly, these little beings coming up, these Generation Alpha, I just see gold. I see gold. And I see gold because gold is the most precious metal on earth, right? And I see them coming up as super powerful beings that break down the system entirely. So those who are not ready for that are gonna, like, you have to understand, the old has to die for the new to come through. That's part of this ascension. Old things that do not connect to the future's coming in fast. In 30 years, so much has changed. The next 30 years is going to be even faster. It's going to keep getting faster. It's not going to slow down. People are starting to realize what's actually going on here. And one of the first things to notice, one of the first things to be aware of, is that time is an illusion. It's a concept, it's a construct of the mind, and it is there only if you believe it. Once you deprogram, once you take the first step and live outside of time for a while, you realize the whole time it was a trick. It was a trick. Like, you don't have to live in time. It's okay if you need to use time to meet up with someone or to, follow a sort of a schedule. There's nothing wrong with using time as a tool. But to completely and utterly believe in time as a fact or as reality is a spell that you're under. So make a choice and choose to be free. Choose to be free and choose to find your moment. Close your eyes, sit down in a corner somewhere over and over again until you can find the moment. Because when you get to the moment, that's where you're the greatest artists you know. Musicians, painters, brilliant scientists, genius, mathematicians. They don't live in time. When they're doing their thing, do you think they think about time? No, they do their passion until their passion is done. That's how it works. You have a genius, you have a creative flow. You just have to find it. Don't deny yourself of your greatness. Don't deny yourself of your ability to be a creator. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And if you could like, subscribe, share, that would be awesome. Comment, that would be even greater. Let me know if I made any sense or if I can talk about something else. So thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Namaste.